In the majestic lands of the Masai Mara, where wildebeest herds swell like a surging tide, the greatest battles often unfold in silence, deep within the fragile yet fiercely loving heart of a single creature. This is the story of Kira, a mother whose love was being overshadowed by the creeping darkness of disease. In the vast, sun-drenched and wind-swept expanse of the Masai Mara Reserve, everything is defined by strength. But Kira, a proud lioness of the savannah, was now subdued by an unseen enemy. Beneath her ragged golden coat lay a monstrous swollen tumor, making her every step heavy, as if weighted with lead. It was more than a physical burden. It was a ghost slowly stealing her will to survive, forcing her to abandon her pride to avoid persecution from her own kind. Cradled beneath that cold mass was Kira's tiny, vulnerable cub. Weak and exhausted, it desperately tried to suckle the last drops of milk, a supply now dwindling due to its mother's illness. This fierce maternal instinct transformed her pain into fierce resilience. Kira knew she couldn't give up. She had to live to keep her cub from the cruel grip of nature, from the cold nights where the cries of hyenas echoed through the darkness. But her solitary battle was reaching its end. With her last ounce of instinct, Kira headed north toward a faint human scent, the outer boundary of the Sai Mar Rescue Center. She staked everything on a thin sliver of hope. At the base camp, Liam Baker, a veteran ranger with decades of experience in the region, watched tensely at the remote camera feed. The image of Kira and the tumor was unmistakable. He knew this wasn't just a rescue, it was a mission demanding absolute precision where failure meant death. Survival on the harsh savanna demands perfection, from the speed of the hunt to the instinct of evasion. But for Kira, perfection was an unreachable luxury. Her desperate, agonizing journey was proof of only one thing: a mother who refused to surrender her child to the brutality of the wild. Kira's life after being separated from her pride was a series of hopeless days. By day, she had to move laboriously, avoiding the territories of other lion groups. By night, she used her remaining strength to fend off hungry hyenas. The tumor in her abdomen kept growing, draining her energy faster than any predator. People often say maternal love is an instinct, but for Kira, it was a command for life or death, the only flame keeping her standing. She could only survive on scraps of meat left behind by vultures, each mouthful paid for with a sharp pang of pain.
Liam Baker and his Rapid Response Patrol team wasted no time. They set out immediately upon receiving Kira's last signal near the Rocky Hill area. Liam, with his deep experience, quickly recognized this as an unusually urgent case. He explained to his team that a sick lion would instinctively try to isolate itself. If she actively sought the human boundary, it was a sign that she had exhausted all hope. They drove along the dirt track, Liam's eyes constantly scanning. "Watch for the paw prints," he murmured over the radio. "A healthy lion walks as lightly as the wind, but this one is carrying a heavy mass. The prints will be deep and uneven." Sure enough, on the reddish earth of the Masai Mara, they found unusually deep impressions, evidence of Kira's suffering. Near midday, the temperature soared and the air became scorching. They saw her. Only a few hundred meters from the main road, Kira had collapsed. The tumor was so large it seemed to have distorted her once majestic form. Exhausted and dehydrated, she lay motionless. The cub, with weak cries, snuggled into its mother's belly, trying to find warmth and comfort. This was the most heartbreaking moment. The mother had fought to her last breath, and she had lost, at least for now. Liam immediately stopped the vehicle at a safe distance. This was the most crucial step, approaching without causing further stress. Instead of firing a strong tranquilizer that could shock a body already weakened, Liam decided to use only a mild sedative. Using full anesthesia could cause Kira's heart and breathing to stop because she's so weak. We just need her calm enough not to harm herself and her cub during transport. With the utmost care, the team approached. Liam gently lifted the cub, feeling the small body trembling in his hands. "Hold on, little one. We'll take you and your mother home." As Kira was gently placed on a specialized stretcher and moved into the transport cage, the team worked with precision and tenderness. The car started moving. The Masai Mara sunset cast a brilliant orange-yellow glow over the savannah, but also shadows over the two creatures in the back of the truck. Through the rear-view mirror, Liam watched them, his heart filled with immense admiration for this brave mother. They were racing against the night, carrying a promise, the promise of a miracle waiting ahead. When the truck stopped at the Central Veterinarian Clinic of the Masai Mara Reserve, a team of vets was waiting at the door, wasting not a second. Mother and cub were quickly moved into the emergency room. The cub was placed in a special warming incubator, while a veterinarian began to feed it substitute milk via a small bottle.
Everyone's focus shifted to Kira. Dr. Maya Sharma, the head of the veterinary team, a woman with keen eyes and steady hands, was in direct command. Her calmness eased the tension surrounding them. Kira was quickly taken for an ultrasound and X-ray. The images on the screen astonished the team. The tumor was not only large, but also a bulky, highly vascular fibrosarcoma, occupying nearly half of Kira's abdominal cavity. It was severely compressing her lungs and stomach. "We have no time left," Dr. Maya said, her voice decisive but devoid of panic. "If we delay a few more hours, she won't survive the night because her body is too exhausted and the pressure from the tumor is immense. We must operate immediately." Outside the glass window of the brightly lit operating room, Liam and the Rangers waited, their faces tense. They could do nothing but place their faith in the hands of the medical team. The surgery began in the quiet of the night. 2 hours passed heavily. Every movement by Maya and her assistant had to be incredibly precise, not only because the tumor's massive size, but also due to Kira's blood loss and weakness. Sweat beaded on the doctor's brow. No one spoke a word, only the steady beep of the heart monitor and the clink of instruments. It was a pressure-filled silence where the boundary between life and death was infinitesimally thin. Finally, the operating room door swung open. Dr. Maya offered a tired but radiant smile. "Success," she announced. "The tumor has been completely removed. The surgery was long, but Kira made it through." A collective sigh of relief filled the room. Kira was moved to a warm recovery room, closely monitored by medical equipment. Liam stepped close to the enclosure, placing his hand on the bars. "She truly is a brave warrior," he said softly. The cub was then brought close so Kira could smell it. When Kira slightly opened her eyes and stirred at the cub's weak cries, the room seemed to burst with boundless happiness. The first battle was won, but the journey to recovery was still very long. After the surgery, the recovery room became Kira's second home and the medical team's focus. Survival was ensured, but now it was time to face a greater challenge: recovery. Kira lay in her warm enclosure with an IV line in her leg providing nutrients and pain relief. The deciding factor was not medication, but emotion. The cub,
now cared for and slightly healthier, was allowed back near its mother. The moment Kira opened her blurry eyes and slightly moved her ear toward her cub's weak calls was the turning point. The fierce maternal love that had been hidden under the veil of sickness now flared up, urging Kira to fight for the child who needed her warmth. Dr. Maya outlined a clear, structured recovery plan. Phase 1, stabilization, monitoring the incision, pain control, and tube feeding if necessary. Phase 2, mobility. After a few days, Kira was encouraged to stand, drink her first sips of water, and eat minced meat. Little by little, life returned. The familiar sparkle of a wild animal began to shine in Kira's eyes.
Phase 3, rehabilitation. When the incision was completely dry after a week, the mother and cub were moved to a larger semi-wild enclosure. In this new area, the story shifted from medicine to instinct. The cub, now energetic, began to run and explore as if discovering a completely new world. Kira, though still slow, had to get up, had to follow her child. She began to practice her survival skills again, stalking, sniffing, and teaching her cub vigilance. Kira's first roar after surgery was not yet mighty, but it was brimming with life. The doctors and rangers smiled radiantly, knowing that the most dangerous phase had passed. After weeks of monitoring and assessment, the big day arrived. It was a bright morning with crisp air blanketing the savannah. The truck carrying the steel cage rolled slowly, bringing Kira and her cub deep into a safe, secluded area of the Masai Mara, a place with abundant food sources and less territorial competition. This was their final moment with the human world and the beginning of a new chapter. In the truck bed, Kira and her cub lay peacefully, their eyes reflecting the brilliant sunrise as if they were ready to face the future. Liam and Dr. Maya stood by the vehicle, their hearts filled with indescribable emotion. This was the reward for sleepless nights and stressful hours. The door of the steel cage was slowly opened. Kira hesitated for a moment, taking a deep breath of the familiar scent of dry grass and moist earth. She stepped out first, her gait having regained its majesty, but still cautious. The cub immediately followed its mother, frolicking in the wind and the bright sunlight of the savannah. Liam and Maya retreated behind the car, watching silently, their hearts swelling with unspoken emotion. The cub ran, and Kira followed closely, protecting it with her restored instinct before disappearing into the endless green expanse. Kira turned back. Her eyes, now bright and strong, looked straight at Liam and Maya. No roar was needed. That gaze said it all, boundless gratitude. It was a moment of deep connection, transcending the boundary between human and beast, proving that compassion can create miracles. Now Kira's story has moved beyond the scope of a rescue operation. It carries a powerful yet gentle message for all of us. Kira's story is not just about a lion. It is about the extraordinary universal power of maternal love. It proves that no creature is too small and no challenge is too great when we act with compassion. The health of the wild world reflects our own humanity. When we reach out to help, we are not just saving an individual, we are affirming our values. Conservation is not control, it is the building of a bridge to independence. Liam, Maya, and their team did not own Kira. They facilitated her return to her true life.
And you who have followed this hopeful journey, you have helped write the next chapter in Kira's life. If you believe in inspiring stories like this, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next journey. Share this video to spread the message of compassion to your community. Furthermore, if you wish to be a part of these miracles, please consider supporting the ongoing work of the Masai Mara Rescue Center. Your support funds more than just a surgery. It funds the return of faith and hope. Let's protect the silent warriors of the savannah together.